Today I'm going to talk to you about the 10 ways to lose in Illuvium Survival Mode. And the reason I'm framing it this way is because I recently watched a video from Alex Harmazi. He used Charlie Munger's presentation, How to Live a Miserable Life, as inspiration. He believes in a process called inversion thinking, which is basically when you solve a problem in reverse. See, our brains are much better at finding problems than they are solutions. For example, instead of asking how I can be rich, ask how I'm going to be poor. And once you've answered that question, it's much easier to put it in reverse and do the opposite. Let's apply this to Illuvium Survival Mode and ask, how can I lose in Survival Mode? Make sure you stay till the end of this video because I'll be giving you the reverse. The 10 rules on how not to lose. You're watching Najaf Plays Journey Through Illuvium. The first way to lose in Illuvium is to just play. Expecting to learn from playing will only get you so far. You need a real understanding of the game. Take the time to understand affinity matchups and synergies. Watch videos about strategy, review mistakes, and figure out how to avoid them and make better decisions next time. Number 2, prioritize synergies. It's easy in survival mode to look at the left side of the screen and focus on building up stacks of synergies. But don't ignore the affinity matchups. Just because that mechanic isn't easily displayed doesn't mean it should be ignored. Focusing on getting the affinity matchups correct will speed up the time for your Alluvials to reach hyper. And a hyper omega from certain Alluvials can win you that wave. Number 3, do what it takes to win. Human nature is to just do what it takes to complete a task. It makes sense because it's efficient. But if you want to improve your play and avoid mistakes, you should be taking the time to do your best and dominate each round. Think of this as data collection for your brain. And the more you use your knowledge, the more knowledge and skills you'll gain. And the 4th way to lose is to admire the graphics during the battle. While the graphics are amazing, if you want to perform well and be competitive, this is the time when you can see if your board placement worked just as you imagined. Focus on what worked and what didn't. Think about how you could have placed your Alluvials for a better result next time. The 5th way to lose in Illuvium is to copy the pros. Now you may be thinking, the pros are the pros for a reason, and you should copy them. But the better approach is to learn the process of thinking like a pro and not to copy them, but try your own strategy. If you ever want to compete with the pros, you need to think outside of the box because you won't beat them at their own game. Number 6, make a mistake and then repeat that mistake. Now this may seem obvious, but if you continue to lose around the same level and you really look at what you're doing, you'll find that you're limiting yourself to similar strategies and making the same mistakes. So learn from your mistakes to make better choices next time, even if that means trying something completely different. Number 7, pick the strongest Alluvials. Let's take a look at Ramfire, for example. This is a very strong Alluvial and might be the best in the game. It's a stage 3, tier 5 Alluvial that takes 100 mastery points to put on the board. With this, you'll get 2 composite synergy stacks and 4 primary affinity stacks. But for the same 100 mastery points, you can put a stage 3, tier 1 Alluvial and a stage 2, tier 1 Alluvial for a total of 3 composite synergies and 7 primary synergies. 2 Alluvials is almost always better than 1, given the amount of mastery points needed to put it on the board. Number 8, choose the ranger's best weapon and armor. You might find yourself choosing a weapon for its ability early on, and then keeping the same weapon and armor for all waves. But the best weapon may not always be the best for each wave. So make sure you consider changing the weapon, especially if that change can break the threshold for an upgraded synergy. The 9th way to lose in Illuvium Survival Mode. Avoid reading the Alluvial descriptions. Plain and simple, don't be lazy. Don't think that if you just play enough, you'll learn what each Alluvial can do. Take the time to read and understand each Alluvial. And don't overwhelm yourself by reading through all of them at once. Read through a few and play a game and focus on those particular Alluvials and how they react in certain situations after reading those descriptions to get a much better understanding of how they should be played. And last but not least, number 10. Think that there's only one way to win. Thinking there's only one best way to win will hold you back. There are multiple different strategies that can work just in survival mode. And when the main game comes out, the possibilities will be endless. So keep an open mind and try new things. Alright, so I just went through the top 10 ways to lose in Illuvium Survival Mode. Here's the reverse, and the top 10 ways to win. Do research and learn the Alluvials and mechanics. Think about all aspects of the game as a whole. Do your best to dominate each and every wave. Pay close attention to what happens during the battle. Learn how to think like the pros, but don't copy them. Learn from your mistakes. The strongest Alluvial may not always be the best Alluvial for that situation. Use your ranger's weapon and armor to supplement your Alluvial synergies. Read the description of what each and every Alluvial can do. And try new ideas and think outside of the box. I promise if you do these 10 things, you will improve at Illuvium Survival Mode. And better to be prepared now, because more is coming real soon. Thanks for watching.